I'm trying to think.
Flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of it's like a bit memory triggered, like trauma. Yeah, a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, so we got met by the TLT guys in reception at Netball Central.
Sophie got taken away from our group and she got given all these instructions.
Yeah, she'd been given an instruction of how we're meant to set up and stand in alphabetical order in certain lines. And
I think she's actually trauma blocked this out because she got a little bit flustered, the poor little doll. But we just had to run on to like court 5, I think, and kind of sort ourselves out as per Sophie's instructions. She missed a few key details out, so we got punished a little bit.
Completely wrong, and obviously we, were laughing at it. But from that moment, we probably knew we were in for a shock. It was going to be tough.
Listen to the instructions. Don't play up.
Literally, the push-ups was the most stressful for me. So for context, if they would give us some instructions and say them quite quickly, and then we'd have to frantically go off and run and complete the task. And we quickly learnt that we're not very good listeners and that we skipped over a few details. And so every time we got something wrong in those first few minutes, it was into the push-up position. And I don't have the greatest upper body strength as it was. I think at one point, one of the men said to me, "What are you doing, Spider-Man?" Because I had sort of one leg up on the other side to try and protect me. So very quickly I realised that we could not make any more mistakes for the rest of the day because there was no way I was holding a push-up position. And I think that literally stayed with me for the entire camp, was just let's not screw up because I cannot go into that push-up position again.
I feel like that first bit was, lots of fluster, excitement still, and just knowing that it was going to be a big camp. I think everyone kind of did their job in that moment. I think obviously got a few things wrong and we got better as the day went on. And the idea of starting fast was kind of brought to our attention really early, and I guess that's what we've taken away from that.
And then we were formed into 2 teams, and those kind of teams competed throughout the next, 24 to 48 hours.
And when the daylight comes, I'll have to go, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so close, 'cause in the daylight we'll be on our own, but tonight I need to hold you so close. Ooh, oh, 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 oh.
So during our pre-season, we were thinking of something different that we could do with our team, but had to have a really great purpose. And we had to probably dig deep and say, what did our team need? They needed to be uncomfortable. They needed to not know what was going on because they're notorious for wanting to know every minute of every day and what they're doing. We found TLT. They were actually working with a couple of rugby league teams, and it really caught my eye. It was nothing like I had seen before. It was a group of guys that were obviously in the police in Queensland who had started their own business. And part of that business is putting athletes under the same sort of circumstances and stress and pressure. And what I loved about it was the little group work, the feedback they were giving them, but also also that the group had to work under really high duress and stress and had to have solutions and work together to achieve that.
Yeah, it's kind of that epitome of sticking to the game plan and actually knowing the game plan and taking it all in. And I think sometimes in moments of stress or pressure, people kind of go back to what works for them or what they want to do. And I guess, you know, these activities showed that it was you couldn't cut any corners, you couldn't just look out for yourself, because it was all about looking after your teammates. You were always working in teams, so there was always somebody else to think about. And yeah, I think that completely translates to on the court. You know, those moments where we do go away from what makes us great is when we go off into our own little worlds and start playing as individuals and not as a team. So yeah, that was definitely an awesome lesson that we've tried to take into this season.
The instruction was, I think they had one person had to be on holding the stick and everyone else carrying them.
It was very intense to try and, like, you wanted to win. Obviously, we're very competitive and hate losing. And we kind of had to carry each other in these tubes, and like there's certain rules, like you couldn't have that person touch, like their feet couldn't touch the ground. If you're touching the tube, you couldn't, have your feet touching or something like that.
Pretty good. They worked it out pretty quickly. Pretty happy. You always got the advantage at the moment.
And so obviously we were in two teams. You had a few minutes to kind of come up with a strategy.
Different scenarios of groups sort of just doing the best they could really quickly, and again, probably not listening to each other about how they could do it the most effective. I think it took them a few tries.
Our team sucked. I remember that clearly, but that's okay. Turns out sunscreen wasn't a good idea because Maddie Proud was so slippery, so I blame her for that.
I think in retrospect, they did it really, really well compared to some other rugby league teams that the instructors had said. So we knew that they had the intel, and when they actually did calm down, think about what the activity was going to be, they did it actually quite successfully. So a few failures, a few bodies that hit the deck, a few egos hurt by not trying their technique. But in the end, I think one team did it really, really successfully. I think it was Sophie Fawns' group. And then the other group copied them. So it was a collaboration of doing it right and the other team copying, and then they got the job done.
Sophie Fawns, Ali Smith, and it's only 10 o'clock and they've tested our limits. Limits have been tested. We can't even throw a shake. We've gone for a run all around the park. We've been holding jerry cans. We've been yelled at. Lots of push-ups, lots of hill sprints. And you know what, if you don't get it right the first time, you got to do it again. So I think we've repeated everything maybe 3 times. No, we're good this time. Dad, I can't believe it's only lucky, race and tough. Peace out.
The diving activity I found personally quite fun. I'm not too afraid of heights. My probably biggest fear is hitting the water, but I feel like I've done it in worse places. It's probably more safe doing it at the diving pool with people actually there to grab you if you do drown.
Well, we get there and then obviously we go to the diving boards, and I think we started at maybe 5 metre, then the 10 metre, then I think we went to, was it 20 metre? I can't remember the exact heights, but it was quite high. And I think even for someone like myself who's probably not afraid of heights, once you get up there and you look over the edge and you see the depth and how far it actually is, it is quite daunting.
Yeah, I love the water, thank God, and I don't mind sort of jumping off of things. So for me, it was something that I thought that wouldn't be too hard, but then once you're actually up there and you realise how far down it is, it gets pretty daunting. But I think that was one of the best things that this team did. I think whoever went first just went with absolutely, no hesitation. And I think that the trust that we had in the TLT guys to just take it on, and to see that they'd done it from moving helicopters into the ocean, that us jumping off a platform into some pretty secure water was not going to be too much of an issue.
Ain't no love in Oklahoma, just a whistle of a long black train. You'll know when it's coming for you, riding in on the wind and rain.
I think, you know, we all knew that Sammy Wallace, I think probably when she first came to Sydney about 8 years ago, we had an incident where I think she nearly drowned, and then also nearly drowned one of the teammates because she didn't want to swim, and that was just literally in a open pool, not even jumping from anything. So I think we were all just so proud of her. When she even went off the first platform, I was like, nah, that's good, she's done, you can tick her off. But she kept going, and I think she ended up jumping off the 7 metre platform or something, which, I think if you ask Sammy, 8 years ago, she wouldn't have even touched that water, let alone jumped in it from 7 metres. So that just showed sort of her progression, but I think also the way that the entire team got around her and just kind of put that faith in her was, pretty incredible.
You can do it, Sammy. She's promised. Yeah. You want affirmation? You are beautiful. You can do this, darling.
She was struggling. I stayed up there with her for a little bit and just trying to console her and talk her through it and get her to go out there. I think by the time she got to the 7 metre one, there was a few people trying to push her off it. But Bryony did a really good job and helped her out. And after Sammy got off that 7 metre platform, Bryony also jumped off too. So that was really cool to see that Bryony also kind of followed through and played her role as well, because she was like, if I'm making my players do this, I better do it myself. So that was really cool to see.
So I have climbed up to the tower with her, knowing that maybe one of our voices or our, just getting behind her and telling her what she's done in the past has been extraordinary and that she could do this jump. One of the instructors then came up to me and said, well, are you going to jump? And I said, oh, that wasn't part of the plan, but I'll think about it. So eventually we coaxed Sam into it, and the whole time I was thinking, well, I'm telling her to do it, but I'm standing next to her and I won't do it. So what is that saying to her or the group? That I'm telling them to do something that I'm not willing to. So once she had jumped, I made the decision probably within 5 seconds that I had to get off this platform because I've just made her do it, and no one was ready for it. I certainly was. I just took things out of my pocket and went for it, because I knew that then I was one of them within the group, and that if I had done it, then I'm going to build that trust throughout the season, that that they know when I'm going to say I'm going to do something, that I did. So I was proud of myself.
There was a few people as well that really, took their fears and took them on. Sophie Fawns, she was shaking the poor little thing up on the 10 metre, and Sarah, I know she's got a massive fear of heights, but she's really good at just kind of focusing and getting the job done, and she doesn't think about it too much. It's easy to kind of follow through, so I feel like that was another thing we took out was, not overthinking, sticking to the process and, getting the job done.
Now what the hell are you waiting for? After me, there should be no more, so for one last time, make some noise. Get him, Jay.